All right, so you're ready to really dive into this whole world of professional athletics, huh? It's exciting, sure, but man, that pressure and that dream, right? We're going to use these role catcher guides, the professional athlete ones, to figure out how to totally nail that interview. Those are going to be like our playbook today.
And it's not just about what got you to this point. It's about how to present yourself in that interview, because talent's only going to get you so far. They need to see you as the missing piece, the one that completes their team.
Right, okay. So let's put ourselves in that room. You're sitting across from the recruiter, and they hit you with that classic. What inspired you to pursue this career? What's the subtext there, would you say?
Dedication. That's what they're looking for. More than just a hobby. They want to see that this has been with you, this dream, for a long time. So think back to when it clicked for you. What lit that fire? A certain athlete you looked up to? A moment, maybe, when you were young.
So instead of just saying, I love the game, which
Right.
is true, but
Right, you got to paint them a picture. Make it vivid. Like, when I was a kid watching the Olympics, I knew right then that was going to be me on that podium someday. And that drive has never left.
no, that's powerful. And I bet they follow up with something like, what do you have to sacrifice to get here? How do you answer that without, like, listing every little thing?
Think about the choices that best show your commitment level. Maybe you moved across the country to train, or you spent all those weekends practicing while your friends were out. Those are big ones.
Yeah, you're proving you get it, right?
Hmm.
The level of dedication required.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into showcasing your strengths here. How do you answer what are your strengths as a professional athlete without falling back on those, like, athletic cliches? You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. It's so easy to just say dedicated or team player, but they expect that, right?
Uh,
What you have to do is connect the dots for them, how your specific strengths help them, what they need.
So more than just, I'm fast, I'm agile.
Exactly. Give them context. Like, my speed and agility let me get past those defensive gaps and make scoring opportunities, not just for myself, but for my team. You see how that ties into their goal? Winning.
Totally. But then they're going to test that, right?
Yeah.
With a follow-up, like, can you give me an example of your speed being a game changer?
Gotta be ready with a good example, yeah. Relive it. Describe a specific play where your speed made the difference. Make them see it.
That's where I think RoleCatcher's AI is so cool, by the way. You could upload the job description, and it'll tell you what skills they're really focused on based on the language they use.
It's like a cheat code. So if they keep saying fast-paced environment, quick decision-making, you know what they want is someone who can think on their feet.
Which changes how you approach that strengths question. Okay, next up, and this one trips people up. Describe your training regimen. What's the right angle to come at this from?
It's about showing that you've got a strategic approach, that you really know your stuff. Not just exercises. They want to see that you're trying to get an edge any way you can. Do you analyze your opponents? What about sports psychology techniques? Are you incorporating those?
So instead of, I hit the gym every day,
Right. You'd say, my training's tailored to whatever point we're at in the season. Off season, I'm building strength and endurance, but during the season, it's about staying at peak performance and not getting injured. Oh, and I analyze my opponent's weaknesses to adjust my training.
see, that shows you're thinking critically, not just blindly following a program. They'll probably dig deeper, though, like, how do you actually adjust your training, at different points?
And that's where you show them you can adapt. Talk about those changes from preseason to in-season, how you prioritize recovery, even how your training has to change when you're traveling.
So you're painting this picture of yourself, basically, as a smart, dedicated athlete who's always evolving their game. And again, this is where that AI from RoleCatcher can help. It can actually pull up those relevant experiences from your past to help you remember to mention them.
Like having a personal assistant who's really good at jogging your memory.
Speaking of which, motivation. Got to have that fire, right? You're going to want to know yours burns bright.
Yeah.
How do you answer that question? What do you do to stay motivated? Especially when you're in those tough training sessions or during a really intense competition.
Well, everyone's motivated, right? But here's where you got to show them your strategy for staying that way. It's easy to just say, I'm driven, but that doesn't really tell them much. Think about your specific tactics. Like, do you use visualization, motivational speeches maybe? Even music can work.
Okay, so you're giving them a look inside, basically.
Yeah.
Your mental toolkit.
Right. You could be like, I actually visualize myself succeeding in those high pressure moments, and I've got this whole playlist that really gets me pumped before games that tells them you not only have that drive, you know how to tap into it.
That's huge. It's like you said, showing that mental strength. They might ask something similar, though. Like, how do you handle the pressure when it's a really big game or a critical moment?
Yeah.
How do you differentiate your answer there?
This is about how you perform under pressure. What you want to emphasize here is your ability to stay calm, collected, and then deliver when it really counts.
So maybe similar strategies apply, but you're talking about what it looks like when the game's on the line.
Exactly. You could say something like, I rely on all that training, all the preparation I've done, because I trust the work,
Right.
That lets me stay calm and make those plays when it matters most.
They need to know you're not going to crack under pressure. Right.
Yeah.
That you're going to step up instead. Get ready for them to ask for a real-life example, though. Like, tell me about a time you faced intense pressure and succeeded.
Oh, yeah. Have that clutch moment ready to go. Describe that game-winning shot or that incredible comeback. That's how you let your skills shine through in a story,
And see, RoleCatcher's AI is amazing for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not just about analyzing job descriptions. It can actually help you practice how you answer.
It's wild. It's like having a coach who's completely dedicated to your interviews. You record yourself answering these common questions, and the AI analyzes everything.
Wait, it analyzes how you're talking. Like, is it going to tell me if I sound enthusiastic enough?
Uh-huh. Not quite. It's more about helping you improve how you communicate, It picks up on your pace, your tone, even your body language, which people don't realize how much interviewers notice that stuff.
So I might pick up on if I'm like fidgeting a lot because I'm nervous or if I'm talking too fast.
Yeah, and it'll give you tips like to slow down, maybe take a pause before you answer, or to make eye contact more, because it's all about coming across as confident and collected, even when you're freaking out on the inside, right?
It's like having a secret weapon to master all that nonverbal stuff, which is so important.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit here. Another question that comes up a lot is about your personal life. How do you balance that with being a professional athlete, with all that demand?
Because it's intense, right?
Yeah.
So they want to know you can handle it all without burning out. How do you strike that balance?
This is where you show them you're mature and organized. Talk about how you manage your time, set boundaries, and make sure you're taking care of yourself and your athletic goals.
So more than just saying, I'm good at time management.
Right. Give them something concrete, like,
Yeah.
I prioritize training and recovery, obviously, but I also block out time for my family and friends. Having that balance keeps me healthy and happy, which actually makes me a better athlete.
You're showing them those two sides of your life can actually work together, not against each other.
Yeah. And this is where you can mention specific things you do. Maybe you're big on using a planner or you meal prep to stay organized. Even having some unplugged time can be huge, just to relax and recharge. You've got to have a plan, right? They don't want to see you letting life get in the way of your goals. Now, let's face it, injuries happen. How do you answer that question? How do you deal with injuries and setbacks? Because that's the one nobody wants to talk about.
This is about honesty, but also staying positive. They want to see that you can bounce back, that you're resilient.
It's not just physical, right? It's got to be mental, too.
Totally. So instead of dwelling on the negative, talk about how you've actually used those experiences to learn and grow. Maybe you dug into studying your opponent's game film or focused on getting stronger in other areas.
They wouldn't say injuries are the worst, you'd say.
Well, injuries are part of the game, it's true.
Wow.
But I see them as a chance to come back even stronger. I use that recovery time to really focus on the mental game studying film, working on other skills.
The video shows them you're not easily defeated, that you're going to find a way to make the most of it. Speaking of which, what about that question? What are the most important qualities for a pro athlete to have? What are they getting at there?
They want to see you get it, the bigger picture. That you understand what makes a good teammate, a respectful opponent, and a role model, honestly.
Okay, so you're showing them your character, that you understand there's a responsibility that comes with this.
Definitely. Don't just rattle off adjectives, though. Explain why those qualities matter. Like you could say, discipline is huge, and not just in training. It helps me in every part of my life. To make good decisions, stay focused on my goals, and be someone my teammates can rely on.
See, that tells them you've actually thought about what it takes to succeed on and off the field.
Exactly. And connect those qualities to the team's values. If they're all about teamwork, you emphasize things like communication and collaboration. It shows you've done your homework, that you'd be a good fit.
Love it. Okay, the sports world's always changing, right? So how do you answer that question? How do you stay up to date on all the latest trends and strategies?
This one's all about showing them you're committed to getting better. Always. It's not enough to say you watch a lot of games, right?
Yeah. So how do you prove you're going above and beyond to stay ahead of the curve?
Get specific. What are your resources? What's your strategy? Do you have subscriptions to those industry publications? Do you go to conferences? Maybe you even seek out mentors in your sport so you can learn from the best.
See, that shows initiative, that you're genuinely curious and want to keep growing.
Right. You could say, I make it a point to attend coaching clinics, study game film of top players, and connect with mentors. Anything to stay on top of the latest techniques and strategies.
It says you're invested in your development. Okay, this next question can be kind of tricky to navigate. How do you handle criticism, especially from coaches and teammates?
That's a big one. Coachability. They want to see that you're open to hearing it, that you actually want to learn from your mistakes, and that you can use that criticism to get better.
Instead of getting defensive or making excuses, how do you approach it?
You got to frame it as a positive, as an opportunity. So you might say something like, I see criticism as a chance to learn and improve. I try to listen with an open mind, understand where they're coming from, and I'm not afraid to ask questions if I need to.
It shows you're not threatened by feedback. You actually welcome it.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps to have a concrete example ready to go. A time you got some tough feedback, but then adjusted your approach and saw positive results. That makes it real for them.
Love it. Okay, let's talk about some of those cool things RoleCatcher offers, the more like unique features, and how those can help athletes throughout their whole journey.
Oh, for sure. One thing they do really well is helping you build a strong professional network and then leverage it, you know?
Because that's huge in any field,
Yeah.
but especially in pro sports, right?
Yeah.
Where it's so competitive. So how does RoleCatcher take it to that next level?
Well, it's not just about collecting business cards, right? It's about actually building those relationships strategically. You can tag contacts based on their role, how relevant they are to what you're doing, even how well you connected with them personally.
So it's like a CRM, but for your career.
Basically. And you can connect specific contacts to job opportunities you're tracking. Say there's a team you're really interested in and you realize someone you know is connected to their assistant coach. Boom, you can flag that right there in the platform.
That's incredible. No more digging through emails or hoping to run into the right person.
Exactly. And the thing is, this isn't just about landing that first job. It's about your whole career. Remember how the guide talked about those different stages, junior athlete, pro, and then maybe even transitioning to coaching or something else in the industry? RoleCatcher has tools to help you at every stage.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, if you're just starting out, they have this whole database of potential employers, teams, agencies, even media companies. You can search by sport, location, what level you want to compete at, all sorts of filters.
It's like a one-stop shop for figuring out what's out there and what fits your goals.
Exactly. And for the more experienced athletes, the ones thinking about life after playing, they have a whole section about switching careers within the sports industry.
That's so important because
Yeah.
it's not like you can play forever, right? To have that support, that guidance, to explore those other passions you might have within the sports world, that's huge.
It is. They actually highlight those transferable skills, the ones you've gained as an athlete, and show you how those apply to other roles. They even suggest courses and certifications that can help you make that jump.
Like having a career counselor in your back pocket. Okay, before we wrap up this part, I want to circle back to something you mentioned about the AI-powered feedback on resumes and CVs.
Oh, yeah. That's a game changer, especially since a lot of athletes might not have a ton of experience writing a traditional resume.
Because let's be real, it's hard to translate those athletic achievements into something employers outside of sports will understand.
Right. That's why their resume builder is designed specifically for athletes. It has templates and phrases that really highlight those key skills employers want to see.
So instead of just listing your stats, you could reframe them to show your leadership skills, your work ethic, your ability to perform under pressure, all those things we've been talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember how the AI analyzes job descriptions. It can actually recommend which accomplishments you should highlight based on the specific job you're applying for.
That's amazing. It's like having a personal branding expert. Okay, one last thing before we move on. There was something in RoleCatcher's guide that I thought was really interesting about building a strong support system. And not just for your athletic career, but for you personally.
So important. Whether it's family, friends, mentors, coaches, even therapists, having people you can count on makes all the difference when you're navigating this world.
Because it's tough, it's demanding, and it can be really isolating. So having those people to celebrate with you, be there when things get rough, just to listen, that's huge.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what we were saying about self-awareness and being open to feedback, right? Those people in your corner, they can give you invaluable insights, help you grow, not just as an athlete, but as a person too.
It's about nurturing those relationships and not being afraid to ask for help when you need it. Because even the best athletes in the world, they're human, right?
Yeah.
We all need support sometimes. Now, before we get to our final thoughts on this whole pro athlete journey, there's a theme that keeps coming up in this conversation, and I want to make sure we really emphasize it.
What's that?
Being proactive.
Yes.
In-
Taking control, making your own opportunities, owning your goals.
It's not enough to just be talented, right?
Yeah.
No, you have to be proactive in going after what you want, developing your skills, building that network, and never giving up on that dream.
Shifting that mindset from hoping someone will discover you to making them see your value. And that's huge, not just in sports, but in life.
Absolutely. You're in the driver's seat. Okay, let's move on to those final thoughts. How to not just make it, but thrive in the world of professional athletics. So we've talked about how to crush that interview, right? And how to use those tools that RoleCatcher offers to build your network. Even think about switching careers later on. But what about actually thriving as a pro athlete? I mean, what does that really take?
I think those athlete profiles in the RoleCatcher guide were really insightful, actually. They all talked about how important it is to be adaptable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Being able to adjust to whatever gets thrown at you,
Yeah.
your training, your game plan, even your mindset, right?
Exactly, because injuries happen, new competition pops up, you have different coaches with different styles. The ones who can roll with those punches, who use setbacks to learn to come back stronger, those are the ones who have those long careers.
And it's not just physical either. It's that mental resilience too, right?
100%. Being able to bounce back from a tough loss, be open to trying new techniques, even handling the media and all that pressure, it's all about being adaptable.
Which goes back to that support system we were talking about. They're not just there to cheer you on. They actually help you adapt and grow as a person.
So true. Having those coaches, mentors, family, people who get what you're going through, they can offer a different perspective, help you figure out what went wrong, and they celebrate those wins with you, keep you grounded.
It's about having those people who believe in you, but who also know the real you,
Right.
not just the athlete. Okay, last thing I want to touch on here. That professional athlete mindset. What makes that different, would you say?
It's about treating your sport like the career it is, with the same dedication, the same professionalism you'd bring to any other job, because that's what it is. It's not just a passion anymore.
So being on time, showing up prepared, respecting your coaches and teammates, even how you carry yourself when you're not competing. It all plays a role.
It all matters. You're representing more than just yourself at that point, you know? It's the team, the sponsors, the sport itself.
Wow, yeah. That's a lot of responsibility, but I can see how it's empowering too.
For sure. And that mindset, it means always looking for ways to be better. Studying how your opponents play, looking at your own performance, staying on top of everything that's happening in your sport, that's what separates the good from the great.
You know, that's actually really inspiring. To know that even at the highest levels, there's always more to learn, more to achieve. That's what keeps it exciting. And honestly, this whole conversation has me fired up. And I'm not even the one trying out.
That's the power of preparation, right? It gives you that confidence.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about RoleCatcher. They give you those tools, the insights you need to walk into that interview feeling ready, confident, and ready to show them what you can do.
It's about more than just your athletic skills. It's about showing them your dedication, that you can think strategically, that you understand the bigger picture, that you're not just playing the game, you're there to win.
Love it. So, for everyone out there with that dream of going pro, remember, talent's only part of the equation. You got to put in the work, find the right tools and support, and never stop pushing yourself. You got this. And that's a wrap on another deep dive. We covered a lot today, from those interview questions to how AI can help you build an amazing career. Make sure to check out RoleCatcher, by the way. Their resources are seriously game-changing. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep crushing it.